Hello, my name is Diana Crane. My presentation is on the assigned article From Caterpillars to Butterflies, Engaging Nurse Leaders in Evidence-Based Practice Reform. The life cycle of the monarch butterfly moves from egg with the goal of growing, hatching, and surviving to become a caterpillar. The caterpillar desires only to eat and grow. Then the caterpillar builds its chrysalis to enable itself to transform. The butterfly emerges from the chrysalis with the goal of propagation of the species. Its goal is to lay more eggs. The disciplined clinical inquiry model was used as the framework for the monarch disciplined inquiry. It is an inquiry and a decision-based model for implementing evidence-based practice into healthcare. It equates the phases of the disciplined clinical inquiry model with the stages of the monarch butterfly life cycle to assist nursing leaders to utilize and incorporate evidence-based practice changes into bedside nursing. The phases of the disciplined clinical inquiry model correspond to the life cycle of the monarch butterfly, which is why it was used. It is based on the complexity viewpoint, which explores different approaches to handle change instead of attempting to control it. It is motivated by the idea that small changes can create a perceptible effect on a larger system. This helps to advance the use of evidence-based changes in healthcare by encouraging small evidence-based changes in care that add up to improved outcomes and improved patient satisfaction. The egg of a monarch butterfly has as its only goal the ability to survive and grow. This can be related to the first phase of this model in that the mandate of phase 1 is to assess the environment and ascertain what needs to change. In this phase, the nurse leader will study the environment and figure out what is not working. In my proposed project, this would be the number of geriatric patients that become delirious and how this is handled by the staff. Currently, what needs to change is that delirium needs to be prevented rather than treated, with the staff becoming more likely to react to delirious behaviors by using restraints, keeping the patient up all night in the hallway, and not mobilizing the patient as often due to safety concerns. It is evident through clinical experience as well as research articles that this is not the best practice based on evidence. The caterpillar only wants to eat and grow. Phase 2 of the monarch disciplined clinical inquiry phase is to learn, synthesize evidence, and translate it into usable form for practice change. In my proposed project, this was the phase where I consumed large amounts of information about the prevention of delirium and synthesized it into an idea to change the way we treat the geriatric population and implement interventions to prevent delirium instead of reacting to the behaviors of patients after they have developed delirium. I then translated this idea and the evidence behind it into a proposal to change this practice. The caterpillar creates and enters its chrysalis. The goal is to struggle to transform into the butterfly. Phase 3 of the monarch disciplined clinical inquiry model is the practice, assimilation, and innovation portion. The nursing leader begins the process of assimilating the evidence-based change into practice. My proposed change in practice would enter this phase with the teaching of the staff. The staff would be gathered for short informational in-services and also receive a copy of the information to their work email. It will include the mid-level providers as new attention to medications used and orders for activity, diet, and vital signs would be changed to promote mobility. Uninterrupted sleep and a decrease in the use of prescription sleep aids would be a part of that program. During this stage of the life cycle of the butterfly, it is focused on propagation of the species. It migrates and mates, and the sole goal is to create more monarch butterflies. In phase 4 of the model, the nurse leader applies the proposed change to patient care. In my proposed change, we will be actively working to prevent delirium. We will allow for periods of uninterrupted sleep, encourage nutrition and hydration, and be promoting independence and mobilization. We will be using the volunteers to assist with meals and mobilization. We will be paying special attention to medication orders in relation to pain management and sleep aids. We will be troubleshooting any issues and working to resolve them. The goal is to propagate change on my floor. The final phase of the life cycle for the monarch is the egg-laying phase. The butterfly has migrated, mated, and is now ready to lay her eggs. The creation of the next generation is her goal. In phase 5 of our model, the nurse leader looks at outcomes of the change and at the impact of the change on her floor. Complexity viewpoint tells us that even small changes can impact a system. For my proposed change, I will be reviewing HCAP scores to discover if this change will improve patient satisfaction. I will be reading reports from Director of Clinical Practice to explore if this proposed change has led to a decrease in incidence of delirium and fewer falls. I will be researching the impact on the workflow and continuing to assess whether this change has the desired effect, a decrease in the incidence of delirium. I will hope that I have propagated change. The Monarch model has 4 interfacing prime movers. They are called the pillars, partnerships, principles, and pathways. The pillars are prime movers that guide the team to create a roadmap to the desired change in practice. The partnerships refers to the multidisciplinary partnerships that need to be in place to implement any change in practice. The principles denote a principle-oriented approach that helps to provide concepts and ideas to guide decision making during the proposed change. The pathways is the reviewing of outcomes and the return on investment. In my clinical environment, the pillars are the education department, managers, and myself who will be guiding this change in practice. The partnerships are with the doctors, mid-level providers, staff nurses, and patient care techs who will help to implement the proposed change. The principle will be the concept of delirium prevention as opposed to delirium treatment. And the pathways will be the means by which we determine if patient outcomes have improved and if we are actually preventing delirium, which will be accomplished by reviewing HCAP scores for patient satisfaction and reviewing other materials with the clinical practice department, which will show us if falls and length of stay have decreased. As the monarch hopes to propagate its species, I hope to propagate change in my clinical setting. I hope to not only implement an evidence-based change in practice, but to improve patient outcomes and satisfaction with their care. Thank you for your time.